revisit.
Christmas came late for your buddy Nick Wright, Jenna, with this game right here. Go ahead.
Hang on 1 second. We're in the NBA. The Clippers playing without Kawhi, making history yesterday, and not the good kind of history. They were down 50 points to the Mavericks by halftime. Largest halftime deficit in NBA history. They went on to lose by 51. Worst loss in franchise history. Now, Paul George, who didn't play great, but played, took full responsibility after the game. Listen to what he had to say.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, we got our butts kicked today, but you know, it's one game. I think get away from today and go to the next one. We wasn't ready today. We wasn't prepared. Not from the plan, but just from us being ready to go, and that's on me.
I guess there are multiple kinds of being ready. The actual plan, and then the other kind of being ready, which Paul George said he wasn't ready for. Nick, you agree with PG that this loss was not that big of a deal?
Jenna, a new rule for this show, just to make your life easier. You never have to ask me, do I agree with Paul George? He's on a permanent disagreement basis now. A sight unseen, quote unread. Paul George said it. I'm going to go ahead and say I think the opposite. And this falls perfectly in that category. I am not one to make too much of a regular season NBA game. But there are, Kevin Wildes, a few exceptions. And one of them is this. If the following phrase is uttered, it's a big deal. And that phrase is, worst in the shot clock era, ... If you ever have that attached to you, it was a travesty. You know how I know? Here's how long the shot clock's been around. Bill Russell came into the league, shot clock already there. Bill Russell's been 100 years old my whole life. He played 0 games before the shot clock era.
Nick, stop it.
When you have the worst game in the shot clock era, the worst first half in NBA history, it's something of a deal. And for a team that, you know, certain all-pro, arguable Hall of Fame caliber, good-looking wide receivers argue on television are going to the NBA Finals, for that team to have this game, I would be extra concerned. So, Kevin Wildes, I say it was a big deal, that Paul George is wrong, and that was an embarrassment for them.
Yeah, I would say it's noteworthy. Ty Lue, after the game, said, like, yeah, we didn't have a lot of fight and we didn't have a lot of pop. And I'm like, you think? Like, even when they were down 50, I get it. The shots aren't going in. Dallas heats up a little bit. Kawhi's gone. But you can still try. So the fact, Brandon, that it was an effort issue, like even late in the fourth quarter, Boban's catching one-handed, not jumping dunks, and the Mavericks are like crashing the boards. Like, they're up 50 at this point. So for me, Brandon, I would be, I don't know, if you wanted to bail out on your Clippers finals pick, which I think you should right now, I think it would be good for you.
No,
but I would be
5 minutes
very
into the
shocked.
season. What?
He's totally allowed to.
No.
He's 100%. Yeah,
no, I'm not going to do it, Jenna.
You should.
Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon,
Listen, it's a big deal because of what Nick said, and I would have chose my words differently if I was Paul George, but it's not indicative to what's to come for the rest of the season. You got to think about it. A lot of emotions running high at the beginning of the year. They're coming off of a terrible performance and an implosion in the bubble. And then you go out and on opening night, you beat the Lakers. You crush the Lakers. And then you play on Christmas Day against the Denver Nuggets and you beat them. Paul George said it. He said, we didn't come to play. I was celebrating too much. The game just caught up to me too fast. That's what he said. This is a team that didn't come to play. One team in the first half made 9 3-pointers. The other team missed 18. That's all this is. Now, Paul George, I agree with Nick, should have chose his words differently. And when you do something that's never been done in history before, it's a big deal. But you don't have Kawhi Leonard. You don't have Marcus Morris. This is a problem.
And
Blake
listen,
Griffin.
those 18 missed threes, they were just 15 missed first half threes away from only trailing by 5. So they have that to hang their hat on. And in the Clippers' defense, and I know people say that I'm mean to the Clippers. In their defense, when Paul George says we just weren't ready, it is an odd thing in this year's NBA schedule that Adam Silver has added pop games. Like you had pop quizzes back in school. It's like, hey, nope, not a day off. You got to play the Mavs.
Yeah.
Show up at the arena 4 o'clock. It's like, damn, I was opening more Christmas presents. Like, nope, you got a game today. So I thought it was kind of dirty pool for the NBA to have the Clippers have to play the first pop game of the year. And the Mavs obviously knew about it, having played on Christmas. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't.
First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolf, Nick Wright. Good to have Brandon Marshall back with us. Kevin Wilds is here this morning. What's up, Nick? Yeah.
No, I was saying, look who's back. Look who's back. It's great.
I know. We missed you, buddy. We missed you. So we waited. Obviously, the NFL is with us, and now we got some real NBA to talk about. We got you here. It starts off with a great morning, so let's go with the big game last night.
No Baker?
The game we've all been waiting for. Can you believe it? We're not starting with Baker.
You weren't here for those.
Not on NBA opening night. LA versus LA. It's confusing. We call it Lakers and Clippers. Lakers got their rings, but that was the only highlight in this one. 33 points from Paul George for the Clippers. 26 of his points came in the second half to help the Clippers hold off a Lakers comeback. How about this? Clippers beating up on the defending champs right out of the gate. 116-109. The man of the night, Paul George, after the win.
Yeah, I mean, I just play basketball. Simple as that. I just play basketball. I applied the work that I put in this offseason. It's not going to be pretty every night. Tonight I got it going. And was able to show up big time for my team. This game one, it's the first test for us. We've literally been together for 9 days as a full group. We got some returning guys, but we got a lot of new pieces that's going to play a big role in our success this year. So we look forward to watching the film tomorrow and get better from tonight.
All right, Brandon, when you look at last night's game, was this more about the Clippers or the Lakers?
Yeah, Nick. So look, when you look at the off-the-court festivities, it was all about the Lakers, rightfully so. And watching the celebration, I just thought about those sacrifices that those athletes had to make to get to that point. It was a beautiful thing. I don't know if I was the only one, but listening to the families introduce and crown their kings last night was pretty powerful, because as a professional athlete, a former professional athlete, all I thought about was those moments of just, when I eating chicken breasts and broccoli when I didn't want to. And I know, Jenna, you probably love that, and you're going to get on me later about it, but you don't really like to eat that for 6-7 months in a row. You don't want to, when the family's going on vacation and they're having a good time and having a Slurpee, and you got to have, make sure you get your gallon of water in. I thought about those moments, and I was like, wow, that is awesome. But Nick, when the smoke cleared and the lights turned on, it was all about those Clippers. I don't know if you saw it last night. Did you watch that game? It was all about the Clippers. This was the Clippers that we were talking about last year and what we wanted to see. Paul George rips for 33. You got Mr. Consistent Kawhi go for 26. You had Serge Ibaka come in and play lights out. You had Lemon Pepper Lou even come in and look explosive. And guess what? You had Pat Beverly making threes. This NBA season is going to get real interesting, Nick. It was all about those Clippers when those lights turned on.
I actually agree with you, Brandon. It was all about the Clippers. And the last time on this show, we led the show with the Clippers. It was with me cackling at their demise. So let me give them a sincere and earnest congratulations, because it had been 362 long, hard days since they had last beaten the Lakers last Christmas. And more importantly, it had been 106 days since they went up 3-1 on the Nuggets. So it had been 106 days between wins for these Los Angeles Clippers. So I'm happy for them. They got that monkey off their back. Now, unfortunately for the Clippers, what I saw last night not only does not make me more confident in their ability to be better than last year, it makes me less confident. They beat the Lakers. I'm happy for them. The Lakers obviously weren't ready to play in the first quarter. They're down 22 points, and that was the story of the game. Lakers clawed back into it, tied it a couple times, never took the lead, and the first quarter ended that basketball game for all intents and purposes. The problem for the Clippers is this, Wilds. Did you see who they're playing? Not who they're against, who they are giving rotation minutes to. In the starting lineup was Nick Batum. Now, I understand Marcus Morris isn't there, but Nick Batum, who